Hi guys, this is GlassArrow. Today I'm going to do the review comparison between the authentic, the real Wolverine Play as Kai versus the bootleg Wolverine Play as Kai with bot version. First of all, comparing the two, you should have seen the different signs between the two already. There are no triangle logos on the bootleg one, no the stickers, no Marvel logo, and also the word Play as in the bootleg version is spelled with an I. This is the way Chinese do this way to focus the lawsuit and prevention legal action. Other than that, the design are almost exactly the same, only the word Play as Kai that have been changed to PIAY. And in the back, yeah, the coloring of the cover of the box is almost exactly the same. If you compare it directly, you can see a little bit that the bootleg version is a little bit darker. But if you only got this one alone, it will be a little bit difficult to tell just by the color alone. And another thing that newer version of bootleg Play as Kai doesn't have is the serial number over here. This is the authentic version that you can see the serial number over here. But for the bootleg version, there are no serial numbers. Okay, but just caution though, this applies only to the new bootleg Play as Kai. The older version of bootleg Play as Kai, such as Star Wars, Cloud Advent Children, the first line of Marvel variants, and some other stuff of the first release of bootleg Play as Kai, they almost have exactly the same box art and also have the triangle logo and everything. They even got the serial number also, but the font of the serial number between the old bootlegs are different than the authentic one. So if you see a one with the triangle logo and it is an old Play as Kai already, it is not 100% that it's authentic or not. But if you don't see the logo at all, be sure that that one is a bootleg. Okay, now let's take a look inside this one first. This is the bootleg version. I got this one second hand, so the plastic wrap is already peeled off. Usually the bootleg have a plastic wrap over the whole model. And in this the authentic version, I already checked out the figure out already. Okay, now we are going to compare side by side of the figures. Okay, so here he is, Play as Kai Wolverine, the bootleg and the authentic version. From the first glance, sculpt wise, they are almost exactly the same. A little bit different is you can see this in height. The real one is a little bit taller than the bootleg one. This is because due to his neck, the authentic version, his neck is a little bit longer than the bootleg. I think this may be due to that the pegs and everything may be a little bit shorter or have some dysmorphic of the pegs of the head. So this maybe look a little bit smaller than the real one. Other than that, the chest piece, the sculpting of the muscle and everything down to the veins in the muscle, superficial veins here, are almost identical. So if you never see an authentic Wolverine before and you only see the picture of the bootleg, it may be a little bit difficult to tell the difference. But now, when comparing side by side, you can see that there are a lot of difference other than the sculpting. The paint jobs are totally different. In the latest variant Play as Kai Marvel, most of the figures such as Wolverine, Deadpool and others have a very stylized color of the armors. The yellow is very prominent and you can see the light reflect very sharply, almost like metallic color, and the black is very dark and the color is very sharp and clean. But if you look at the bootleg one closely, you can see that the black is not that dark as the real Wolverine, and the yellow is very pale comparing to the reflective yellow color of this armor here. And also you can see that his the Wolverine head, the black on this one is a little bit gray to brownish, whereas the real one is dark black all over. Also in his muscle and the colors of his skin, the authentic version have a varied degree of light tone flesh to the color of his muscle, biceps and everything. are detailed very nicely, whereas the bootleg one, you can see closely here that the marking and everything is more prominent and looks a little bit dirty all around. There is no clean pale flesh over here of the real one. This one is a lot dirtier. This also comparing to this side. And when you look below on his belt, the real one color, the silver is very distinct and the red is color very clean, whereas the bootleg one, the red is not very marking like the authentic version. And the blue on his shirt is not also well colored as the authentic one. This is just the normal plain paint blue all over the place, whereas the real one, you can see the minor detail of his fabric cloth. Okay, so you can tell now if the color is very strange, not very clean and sharp, that may be a sign of a bootleg figures. And also if you look closely on the bootleg version, you can see his armor over here. There are a lot of paint that are misplaced. This is a pale color on his black shoulder armor. And when you look comparing in the back, almost the same sculpt, but the color of the bootleg also have a mispaint over here, right here. The yellow is overlap on the black part, whereas the real one, it is neat and tidy color. Okay, now we are going to take a closer look at his face. Okay, this is a comparison between the two variation heads of the Wolverine play as Kai. On your right side is the bootleg version and your left side is the real version. At first glance they are almost identical, but if you look closely, the authentic version color yellow on his forehead has a lot more vibrant color, and the color is very neat with the orange shadowing in the front of his head, whereas in the bootleg version on your right, the yellow is not as vibrant as the real one, and there are a lot of mispaint of the black over the yellow part also. And if you look closely at his white eyes, you can see that the bootleg version, the left eyes is a little bit mispaint and he will look a little bit strange, whereas the real one on your left works perfectly. Other than that, the color skin tone is almost identical, but the left one, the authentic one, have a lot of more detail if you look closely on his mustache and everything. The bootleg version is almost just the plain pale color of the skin only. Okay, now for another of its main accessories of the play as Kai Wolverine, the samurai sword. The same as the other before. On your right hand is the bootleg version and on your left hand is the authentic sword version. At first glance also they are almost identical, but if you look closely, the real one on your left is a lot more shinier than the bootleg one. The gold on the handle and the silvery part of the blade of the sword is more prominent and more shiny than the bootleg version. Okay, now for the joint and articulation. This is the real version, authentic one. As I will show you beforehand how the real joint feels. The joint of the real one is a little bit stiff in the torso, and he can move and pose very nicely because of the stiff and strong joints on his elbow and everything. And also there is a swivel over here, freely, and the knee joint is very stiff. Okay, so he can pose very nicely, and the knee and also the foot can support the weight of the figure quite well. Now for the Chinese bootleg version, yeah, so beforehand you can see that the color is very distinguished difference from the authentic one. A lot of dirtiness on his muscle, and the color of armor is not that vibrant as the authentic version. For the head, it moves freely, okay, not that bad, but here you can see that the torso joint is a little bit loose comparing to the real version. For the arm joints, swivels, and the elbow joint, not too shabby comparing to the authentic version, but not that strong too. For the hip is a little bit aligned awkwardly comparing to the real one, so he can pose a little bit strange. And also the swivel over here is not as loose as the authentic version. You have to push a little bit of force to make it move. And for the knee joint, okay, and for the foot joint, okay. So overall, the articulation and joints of the newer bootleg Players Kai, from my perspective and experience, have improved quite a lot. It become more durable and strong, but still there are some loose parts, and the joint in the leg and the hips cannot support the fully weight of the figures as good as the authentic version. But on a caution note here, whenever you buy a bootleg figures, you have to gamble on the way that the joint may come in a very broken part, because the QC issue of the bootleg isn't as good as the real one, or maybe not exist at all. So beware of that, and better check with the seller first on how the condition of the figure is. Okay, so that's about it, the comparison between the bootleg and authentic version of the Players Kai Wolverine. So a lot of you have asked, so where to get the bootleg Players Kai. There are a lot of online markets out there, such as eBay, that you can find a lot of bootleg Players Kai around, or bootleg toys in the eBay auction and buy it now version. And also some other places like buying from the China online shops such as AliExpress. The price range of the bootlegs usually around $30 to $60, depending on which store you buy from. But just to make sure you do not get ripped off by buying a bootleg with the price of an authentic one. So if you have any question at all, you can ask me down below this video, or check out my Facebook page and you can message me there. Thank you a lot for watching this video, and if you like, please give it a like and subscribe for more kind of this content in the future. GlassArrow out.